Good afternoon, guys. Max Power. Found a few articles here I thought were pretty interesting. I wanted to discuss with you. This one's from Axios. It's women's labor force participation still lagging. Now, we've talked about this before, how men pay taxes and women consume taxes. So it's been like this for a long time, and with government, all this government help that's been given, it's getting worse. It goes on to say women are still struggling to get back to work, and the Omicron variant may have made that more difficult. Men's labor force participation rate was up to 70% in January. The women's rate is 58%. Now that's almost 3/4 of the men are working, and barely half of the women are working. How is this possible? Well, the reason they can do it is because those 70% of men are paying higher taxes. And of course, as always, it's not women's fault, right? It goes on to say issues with schools and daycare centers kept women out of the workforce. Now that's daycare centers and schools. And that's where most women work, right? What's next? Women are in a tough spot, and there's still a shortage of childcare workers and the possibility of school scheduling snafus with future variants. Now, most of us, in common sense, well, why don't you just stay at home? Take care of your kids, homeschool your kids, save that money you pay for another car, insurance, gas, clothes, the daycare. I mean, all the money you spend, and now you're crying about it, right? Well, that's not how women think. It goes on to say there is no real policy fix on the horizon now that Build Back Better is dead. Well, thank God that's dead. And it's got to be a policy fix, right? It's not a woman's fault. It's got to have something to do with the policy, Child care providers operate on tight margins and don't pay well. And in a tight labor market, they're having a hard time finding workers. Well, how much are you going to pay somebody to take care of kids? I mean, it's not like they're building a bridge, right? One state solution is to deregulate its daycare centers, giving child care workers more children to look after. A widely criticized move that could put children's safety in danger. So yeah, let's put more low-paid, unqualified people in charge of our kids. Let's give them more kids to look after. And this is the end of it here. I just wanted to, this last paragraph, the pandemic exacerbated long-simmering issues that American parents, particularly women, face when it comes to managing work and family. Long-simmering issues. That's right. It's hard to work and to raise kids. It's hard to do. And it says early on in the pandemic, there were signs and hopes that these problems would be addressed. Now it's clear women are on their own. Isn't what they wanted? Isn't that what they wanted? Independence? You got it. And this next one, I'll see who it's from. Is research has suggested that COVID-19 pandemic has greater impacts on women in the economy and the home. In this period of turmoil, women also may be carrying a heavier emotional burden than men. This first chart is U.S. women more likely than men to have recently thought about the big questions in life. Now, if you look down here, remember we talked about 70% of men were working? Well, only 20% of men think about the big questions in life. That's because the other 3/4 are working. They ain't got time to think about it. Women in the U.S. are more likely than men to say they often feel sad when hearing about other people's suffering. And if you look at the second one, a desire to help those who are suffering. See, only 34% of men often think about helping people that are suffering. It's because the other 70% are working all the time. They ain't got time. And then the last one, thankful for the good things in their life. We keep going back to that 70%. 70% of men are thankful for the good things in their life. This one is women more likely than men in the U.S. to say the news is just too much to take. Then look at this, the first one here. You need to tune out the news. 20% of men often think that. Well, it's because the other 70%, they're not watching the news, but just because they're working all the time. It's funny, man. And then this last one here, the survey also finds that women are much more likely than men to believe in the afterlife and supernatural forces. And if you look at this last one here, or the last two, everything in life happens for a reason. See, 70% again. And only 35% of men believe in fate. That's because the other 70% know that they got to work for what they get. It's crazy how things have changed. On this one, this is a candidate for Mom of the Year here. This woman was getting chased by the police, and the cop that was behind him noticed somebody throwing stuff out the back windows. So he got his buddies behind him to stop and pick it up. It was pot and baggies and scales. But when they finally got her pulled over after chasing her, they noticed there was kids in the back seat, 2 kids in the back seat. So what ended up happening is these 2 people here had their kids throwing the dope out the window so they wouldn't get busted with it. Now, first thing you think is, oh, that's terrible, but this is how conniving these people are. If you think about it, it's another charge. See, they can't charge them with possession because they didn't have it on them. But a cop can charge you with possession if they see it coming out your window. But the kids threw it out the back window. So what are the cops going to do? Charge the kids with possession? I mean, it's unbelievable, man, these people. And to think about this woman's ex, the father of these kids. He thinks that he don't know, and she's running from the police down the highway throwing dope out with the kids in the car. I bet he has no idea where she's at with the kids. Unbelievable. Now this last one, I keep saying the word unbelievable, but I guess I should never be surprised anymore. Woman with 2 vaginas says she uses one for work and one for personal sex. Now, guys, this is insanity right here. This woman has 2 vaginas, and she uses one for work and one for personal sex. Now, oh, baby, this one's yours, right? No, baby, this one's for you. It's only for you. It goes on, bringing a whole new meaning to not mixing work with pleasure. This OnlyFans star, of course, OnlyFans, right, has shared what it is like to have 2 vaginas, where using one professionally and the other one for personal sex. Adult content creator, she's got a title. She's an adult content creator. Didn't find out until the age of 20 that she's born with 2 vaginas and 2 wombs. Now, how is that possible? How does she not know? Anyway, I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but there's more to this article. I didn't put it on here, but it talks about her boyfriend and how she comes home and she has 2 vaginas and 2 wombs, so she can get pregnant in 2 different places. And she has menstrual cycles in 2 different places, so she has to know when she can get pregnant and when she has to use protection. And, could you imagine being this guy, her coming home and you want to get busy and you say, okay, baby, which one? And she says, oh, baby, this one right here. Ain't nobody mess with this one. This one's all yours. But anyway, I feel sorry for the guy, but that's all I got. Hope you enjoyed it. Just my opinion. You can argue my opinion, but you can't deny my experience. Y'all have a good day.